So, Arjun, welcome to this debriefing session, and congratulations on two things. One is scoring a 740, second, an INSEAD admit, really good school. Also an ISB admit, from what I understand.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much.
So it's been a long journey, and we were talking about it. You said, you took the GMAT once in March of 2016. Let me look at my notes. Scored a 680, then you took it in August, scored a 710, then you scored 690 twice. So this is the fifth attempt overall.
Yeah.
So walk me through the journey and tell me what was the difference during the fifth attempt that helped you get to a 740.
So I one more thing here, that I did book exam in the December of 2018, which I did not end up taking because my cat was horrible and I was like not in the best state of mind to give it. So I removed that part entirely. So I mean, in terms of talking about the journey, I feel I've prepared from all different kinds of sources, self-study, videos, free videos, some kind of subscriptions, here and there, some classroom models also and online models also. So initially, I think I got lost into the entire resource thing where, there is so much out there in the market and you feel like doing everything. And then you feel that, only then you'll be able to, get that kind of a score. Later on, I realized it's more of very targeted kind of a study. And that is something that I realized after I scored 690 twice and getting a 710 in hand already. I realized that there's something fundamentally wrong. So what is happening is, if it clicks in the exam, you get good scores. If it isn't clicking, then you're down to the same level. So there has to be something very fundamentally fixed. That's what I wanted to identify. And I started reading, and on GMAT Club and on Quora, I read a lot about e-GMAT's specific, trying to understand where you lack, and then having this tool called Scholarinium to help you practice that skill and develop over time. So that's something that really excited me. So I started off with a big thing, and that, I really liked that one. So I didn't see the results right off in the free module, the 1 week thing, but I thought this should work out. So I took the course completely, and as luck and all the circumstances would have been, that really helped me get the score. So that's a brief. I mean, I can talk about that, and if you want.
So I think I want to really understand. You had a 690 twice, right? What were your verbal scores in that 690?
So one was 33, one was 31, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. And when you...
So I guess it was 31 and 51 and 33 and, I'm not wrong, something around this.
Okay. And so when you did that, did you get your ESRs?
Yes. So this is after I enrolled for e-GMAT. I understood that ESRs are actually important, and you can get. So I was speaking to this consultant from the e-GMAT. So he's like, you should give me your ESRs first, and that'll help us understand where you stand and what are your pain points, and you can address that. So just before e-GMAT, I got both the ESRs together and kind of understood. So RC was a disaster.
What did you? So RC was a disaster. Okay.
35 percentile. So I guess in one of them, CR was 90 plus. It was somewhere around 70th or something, and CR and RC was way below 30, 35. I don't remember it, but yeah, somewhere around that.
Okay.
So that was one. So I understood that, if there is an RC that I really like, I just read it and get the answers. If I don't, I get 3 out of 4 wrong. And especially towards the end of the exam, the last 2 RCs were usually not so good. I had that kind of a feeling. So that kind of compounded.
So I actually have your ESR.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now that you really said you sent your ESR, I figured it out, and this was your ESR over here. And yes, RC is a disaster. SU really good, RC really, really bad, and you have this verbal score of 34 over here.
So I remember otherwise. So yeah, so I thought CR was good, SC was decent. So it's the other way around. Actually, CR is bad.
This is your September attempt, by the way.
I mean, this is 690 or something, right?
Yeah, this is a 690 attempt, September. So
yeah, got it.
so then I also logged into your account, and I'm in Scholarinium over here, and over here you can really see really good, and you eventually became really good in RC, because
Yeah, so
75% in RC is really
yeah,
good.
so I mean, I made sure that I'm taking at least 2 to 3 quizzes of RC at once, and I keep doing that again. It's basically target study. I just told you I'm a fan of the entire e-GMAT tool, mostly because it gives you that flexibility of just picking one thing and just keep practicing until you get it right, kind of a thing.
And also on the course side, I see, and that's where I think you said earlier you didn't do RC. You actually finished RC completely. Again, really good scores over here. So 100%
Okay, I
completion.
got it. Got it. Yeah,
So,
so I remember otherwise, and probably then I'm not sure.
yes. So RC was a problem, and CR was an issue, and so this is November. You talked to Ashutosh. What does Ashutosh tell you? You were talking to Ashutosh, right?
Yeah. So Ashutosh told me I think there were 2-3 things. So he's like, you're fairly decent in SC, so you should probably start off with quizzes and understand where are you lacking, and from there pick that particular topic in SC and move forward. But I didn't take his advice. I thought SC is something you should get 90, 95 plus, because SC is where you can score. So I thought I have some time in hand. So I did not have a timeline in mind when I want to apply, because I was already past round 1. I thought round 2 I can do it pretty relaxed fashion. So I started off SC from scratch. I wanted to make sure that I could get good scores there, so that way. So that's how I started. The second is, he pointed out that CR initially you're doing, I'm not sure how did he get to that analysis. From what I remember is CR was an issue because of timing. So I was taking upwards of sometimes 2.5 minutes to answer CR question correctly. Also something that was proven after my personal practice. So I had an Excel sheet maintained day wise, what's your accuracy and all those things. So that way, so I could see that if I give ample time, CR is good. If I cut that down time under 1.5 minutes or so, the accuracy was falling. So then I understood that it's also a timing issue.
Yes, it's what we call as someone's natural tuck time, or natural time. And
yeah, so I read about that, and yeah.
So you said you don't know how he figured that out?
I mean, yeah. So I don't remember exactly. I'm sure that at that time he would have told me on the call. So we had a webinar. We had a good video call where he explained to me with the ESR what he's saying, but I don't seem to remember very clearly right now.
Yes. So tell me one thing. You'd taken 4 attempts even before that. How come you never did such an analysis?
So so the 710 exam. So I was I wasn't well. So I puked during the the after the verbal section. Sorry, I started with verbal, then quant. Yeah. So I was really unwell after the verbal section, and that's one thing. So I thought that's a bad attempt. Then 690. So I had a lot of luck issues also. 690, I reached the center. They're like, this is not the center. The center is 5 kilometers apart. The Noida center. The Google Maps isn't updated. I'm like, what? And then he's like 10 minutes to that thing. So I came out. I took my car. I started moving. The road was blocked. So then there was this police guy. So that 690 went down. So I thought probably because of my mental state. The third one, then when everything was fine and this happened, I'm like, now there's something actually wrong. So until then I had too many things to blame. I would say that I didn't actually sit down and understand what's the problem in my preparation. But after the second 690, I felt it's high.
Okay, and you did not approach, because you've taken so many courses. You said you did not approach anyone to really help you analyze how should you study and all that stuff.
I did. So nobody spoke about ESR when I told. So that was for starters. The second is I was working with top 1%, and when I spoke to them about this happened or that or whatever it is, I mean nothing substantial came out of it. So I would say that it might have been my thing also that I didn't reach out to them as proactively as should be required. But whatever happened, I mean, I just didn't get that kind of advice or that kind of pinpointed algorithm to follow as next steps.
Okay, and I'm glad you talked to Ashutosh. She's very, very bright when it comes to isolating where should someone focus, as her analogy. So, okay. So you focused on RC, you did SC. Now, how did your approach change in SC?
So I love, so exactly. So SC I started in the free trial and I loved the meaning based approach, and I realized SC I was good. So I was coming from the other approach of elimination. So I was great at eliminating things that I was very comfortable with. But the moment you talk about difficult questions, then it becomes a 50-50% game, because I could come down to the last two, sometimes three options, and then it was a guess. And so the accuracy there was a little low. But then when I understood the meaning approach, so I at that time, so it stuck me like, wow, I didn't even realize it's so easy kind of a thing. But then, so I got fascinated. I practiced that, and it started doing, I started improving in that particular section specifically. So I loved it. So SC is one thing that I really love in e-GMAT. I mean, that's the best module of all the learnings that I've had at e-GMAT, I would say.
Okay.
Something that I didn't find anywhere else.
Okay. Then, and this is something which is also very relative. I think if you're struggling with one topic, you typically find something. So in RC, did you change how you approach things? Because that's kind of where you had the big improvement.
So I feel RC, I did not really change the way I solve it. I mean, so I did now that I've seen what I did, I feel I did your course entirely. And rather than, taking the summary or those things, I kind of tweaked the entire methodology to my, however it suited me. So one thing was, because I had very targeted, so I understood that, if there is a topic on humanities or politics, I started yawning sometimes. I mean, that was, so I was surprised when I was
weren't getting immersed in the passage.
Exactly. So I did very targeted practice on certain things that I knew I'm screwing up big time, so that at least I get familiar with it. So that was something that was, I think, was the game changer in RC, along with a couple of tweaks here and there that I did while going through the entire thing. But I specifically remember, I think your course mentions about, pause, taking some kind of note or doing something
paragraph
on the
summaries,
side.
Paragraph summaries.
So yeah, so I realized that if I did that, I was taking some more time, and the moment I write it, it gets off my head saying that, oh, I've written it now, I don't need to remember it. However, I took another approach where I read a paragraph and I paused for a second to just say the entire paragraph in one line in my head and then move to the other paragraph. So that's how I tweaked it to my...
Which is good. So you ultimately followed the reasoning behind writing.
Yeah, so exactly. So yeah, as I'm saying, I just tweaked it a little bit here and there.
But essentially, you did focus on comprehending, and that's kind of
yes,
the whole
110%.
Okay, so and then you did great. I mean, your stats are amazing in RC. It's somewhere, these are equivalent to the stats of someone who would score a 90+ percentile in RC. So 75% accuracy in hard questions is really good.
Thank you.
So yeah, so typically that's kind of where, if you score 75% in hard in Scholarinium, you're at the 90th percentile or higher. That's kind of what our prediction is overall. Okay. And so you Scholarinium, you actually, and your stats are good. I mean, you practice close to 400 odd questions, not a whole lot overall in Scholarinium. So when you went into the test for this 5th time, how different did it feel?
So there were 2-3 things. One on the personal aspect, and the other was on the preparation aspect. So in terms of personal aspect, because I already had ISB, the moment I had ISB, so initially I thought, although I'm applying to ISB in the round 1, I always had this thing in mind that there are a couple of colleges outside that I want to go to. So it was like ISB, I also wanted to apply. And because I got the admit, I feel I was a little relaxed, saying that I do have a college in hand. I'm sure that did play a big role, as opposed to the other attempts when, I was kind of nervous. That was on the personal front. But on the preparation front, I feel, so one thing I had clearly in my mind is I've had all kind of experiences while giving GMAT, good luck, bad luck, whatever it is. So I thought, there's nothing new that can come from that perspective. The other was, I got comfortable solving questions while seeing the clock ticking right on top of me on the right hand side. So this is something that I did in Scholarinium. I always took, say, 2-3 minutes so if there's, so when I was practicing, so I was done with the entire syllabus, and when I spoke to Ashutosh, if I'm not wrong, so he's like, take specific tests, easy test of 10 questions, 2 tests, then medium, then difficult. That way you can go about it.
Yes.
So
Test readiness.
if he exactly, so if he suggested 25 minutes, I took 22. So I wanted to put that pressure on me, saying that, okay, the clock is ticking. So that entire feeling of, it's okay, I have 60 seconds, I'll still solve it, kind of a feeling. So that was a little comforting, that I feel. So these were the main 2 aspects that I feel which, changed. Otherwise, whatever was going on unknowingly was obviously, the skill that had developed was obviously showing up.
Okay, and that's good. I'm glad to I'm glad to really hear that. So when you took the test, you got that 740 score. How did that feel?
So I gave the test.
Feeling? Yes,
I gave the test. So I was done with my verbal section. I came out and I was drinking water. That was when I realized I don't think the verbal was great. I think I messed up 2-3 questions. That was the first feeling. Then when I gave math, I felt that so in quant, I was rushing towards the last 2 questions because I became overconscious in the first section, in the first few questions, I feel. So I thought that I might, so I was aiming for 51, but at that time I felt that I might miss 50 also because of the last 2 questions. So there was enormous fear in me there, that oh my god, I don't think this was as good. In the last 2 sections, AWN, I was like, okay, let's get done with it. It's okay. So I was like, okay, fine. But the moment I saw the score, there was a tear that rolled down my eyes. I was like, I couldn't believe it that I got that score. I mean, I still remember that day. It's one of the most happiest days of my life. No kidding. I mean, I understand it's not a score that, is impossible to get. But for a person
you're in the
like
top
me,
3 percentile in the world.
I mean, from where I was coming in, the kind of, other mocks and exams that I took, especially after 4 attempts, I wasn't expecting that. So that was one of the happiest moments. I called up my parents, and that's how it.
So what was their reaction?
So there were twice in the mock when I had already gotten a 740. I'm not sure in Manhattan or what. So the moment I told my mom, she's like, that means you've not taken pressure. I knew it. If you don't take pressure, you're going to get a 740. And she was happy. So that's something good that she mentioned.
That's good. I'm super glad to hear that. I think this is kind of where if you show the persistence, your dreams can come true. And
I mean, I feel that's the only. I feel that was one of the reasons why it happened. So I was determined in one thing, that I'll keep trying. In fact, after the 4th attempt, until 4th attempt, I thought I can I can set aside 15 grants a month and just keep taking GMAT. But then after the 4th attempt, I realized, there's a cap to the number of attempts you can take in 52 weeks, and then the entire lifetime. So yeah, so until that, like, fine, I'll keep giving exams, kind of thing, until I get that score.
That's true. Yes. So yeah, and then from there on to INSEAD, that's a fantastic school. I mean, it's probably Europe's best school that's there. And yes, coronavirus aside, Europe is probably a good place to live in.
Yeah. Although my long-term perspective might be that I would want to work somewhere in Asia, or maybe Middle East. I mean the Middle East or the Singapore side. But yeah, I would be happy to. I'm open to exploring different things. I'm sure
you're actually
things
the
change.
first person who's saying that I want to work in the Middle East. So
so nice. So I feel so long term. So I want to be so I've tried my hands with a bunch of startups, had bumpy experiences. So long term, I would want to have my own startup in that way. And I feel the next, I might be biased when I say that because of my limited perspective, but as of now, I feel the next the next leg of different ideas or different markets that are going to emerge is going to be somewhere in this part of Asia. And I would want to be close to that market, experimenting. So I know decently about India, maybe neighboring countries, and that's how things can hit off. So that's the long-term perspective. I know things might change when I go to B school. So yeah.
Yeah, that's also the nice thing about INSEAD. I mean, you said Stanford is the other school that you were looking at, but with INSEAD, there's such an international perspective over there, with upwards of 70% of the class being international, that if that truly is what you want to do, I think it'd be much better equipped.
In fact, here I would want to point out that I want to tell you the reason, the day when I decided that INSEAD is going to be one of my top 2 choices is, so I was reading, I don't remember where, and I mentioned this in the interview also, that it said that INSEAD is so international that it's going to make sure that your study group will not have a guy or a girl from your nationality. I mean, that's gave me goosebumps in terms of the kind of perspective that you're going to have. So that was one of the highlight. That was one of the things that fascinated me about, and still does, about INSEAD.
Oh, it is incredible. I mean, that's there. Now, did you get any scholarship?
So nothing as of now. So I feel the scholarship mail should be out by 25th, or that's what the thing says. But yeah, some people receive it with the admit. I haven't received that scholarship.
So within a couple of days.
Yeah, maybe by 25th they'll be out.
All right, that's good. Good luck. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, it's a great school. It's and really good international perspectives overall, and very good professors. That's the other piece.
Yeah.
So you were talking about how can you prepare for this for a year, right?
Yeah, I mean, so firstly, for the next 3-4 months, so the college starts somewhere in August mid. So I have about 3-4 months until then, and thereafter the entire B school. So is there something pre-MBA that you can do to prepare for MBA, and thereafter during
there are
MBA?
2 ways you can go about it. One is you can really say, hey, I am gonna learn about the academic courses that are going to be there. So when you want to talk about academic courses, you're talking about learning macroeconomics and some of that, as well as learning accounting.
Got it.
That's one thing you can do. Also brushing up on your Excel skills, making sure you know pivot tables really well. So and you know how to truly build a PowerPoint, not just using PowerPoint as a tool, but how to think about creating a presentation. Which, trust me, I mean, I've had hired a lot of MBAs. They don't know how to do that. They know how to format a presentation, but they don't know how to think about a presentation to create an impact. So that's kind of what I call as the academic side of things.
Got it.
I would not recommend learning economics and accounting. Someone from your background won't have a problem doing that. I would strongly recommend learning if you don't know how to use pivot tables.
So I come from a consulting background, so that way Excel is my bread and butter, you can say. So that way.
So then in that case, then if you come from a consulting background, you probably know enough of PowerPoint as well. Then, so the tool side is taken care of. Then the other side is the business side of things, which is where you could start with certain things such as either the very basics. So where you can start with Michael Porter's What is Strategy, the very fundamental setup. These are old books, but these are still classics and really good reads. Or you could go with a professor called Clayton Christensen, has written books on disruptive innovation. And then, or you could go with books by current venture capitalists such as Peter Thiel.
0 to 1.
Zero to One. So. Yeah, I've read that book about 4 times. Like, in fact, I go back to it again and again.
Amazing.
Yeah, if you like that book, so then there's a couple of other books. So there's a guy called Ram Charan. He is one of probably the world's highest paid executive coach. So when he comes to India, the Ambanis and the Tatas come and listen to him. So he's written this book called Every Company is a Growth Business. Every Business is a Growth Business. It's a thin book, but it's a classic. It's really, really well written. So, I mean, if I were you, that's what I would do. I would read on these books. And
Got it.
In any area that you're fascinated with.
So that way I feel decision making, behavior, organizational behavior, strategy. Those are the kind of negotiation. Those are the kind of topics that really entice me.
Okay, so if you want to do negotiation, read The Heart and Mind of the Negotiation.
Got it.
I'm just going to tell you the author. This is not Leah Thompson. I will tell you. Oh, I have this book. I don't remember this one being the author. But yeah, The Heart and Mind as a Negotiator is a really good book. It talks about 3D negotiation. It's one of those books that again I go to. Otherwise, you can also take a look at, if you are into organizational behavior, Harvard Business Review has an HBS series on managing teams. Okay, as well as on leadership. So there are 2 HBS series which are there. Is like probably 200-page books. These are a collection.
These are smaller, colorful books.
Yes.
I think I've read one of these. I mean, if there's a series, then one of the somewhere.
It's not just super small. It's small, but it's also thick. So it's about 200 odd pages.
Maybe then, no, probably I would have just seen it, not read something.
Yes. So there are some very thin ones, but there's this collection of articles on leadership as well as on managing teams. That's very good.
Got it.
But this is one more. But this is dense stuff. The Harvard Business Review stuff is dense.
Okay.
So
slow reads
and read and think.
Got it. What's your perspective on some kind of internship? So long term, education industry is something that I'm extremely fascinated with. So again, the long term perspective is to kind of have something in this industry only. So I was thinking, in case I were if I get a chance to do an internship or something, would that be a good kind of an experience, apart from, because I'm coming from only the consulting side.
Again, maybe not. It just depends on what you get. I mean, you have 3 months before you ship out or 4 months before you ship out. The question really is, what kind of opportunities do you get in 4 months?
Got it.
So
I mean, yeah.
That's kind of the piece that would matter. So if you get something where you get to make a difference, absolutely. But if you don't get that, then no.
Got it. So mostly it's around reading books, opening your mind, doing some research, getting some clarity, putting your thoughts together. That's the kind of that's
building frameworks. So again, when I read these books during my MBA, and I still read them, I am able to really look at other companies' decisions and evaluate them, both successes and failures.
This is like an exercise of yours. So you just take a test case.
That's what case study analysis is. It's just doing that in your mind, and then you have a lot more data in today's world. So
got it.
So and it can be very powerful. So
got it. Understood.
And yeah. Well, Arjun, thank you very much.